So, yesterday we all probably logged on to Twitter and saw the dreadful news. Spider-Man is leaving the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, naturally I did what anyone would do. I grabbed my box of tissues, my tub of ice cream, and went into a corner and cried for maybe 30 minutes. So after I handled this situation like a champ, I read a couple of articles regarding the situation and casually saying the dumpster fire that was Twitter. Everyone was blaming Sony, and I was too naturally, but as I got to thinking more, this really isn't all their fault. They definitely share some of the blame, but what Disney is asking was ludicrous. I was pretty shocked to find out the deal was 95% Sony and 5% Disney, but later I found out that Disney also has 100% of the merchandise and, other logistics that I won't bore you with here. Hashtag Save Spider-Man from Sony has been trending for like the whole day, and even Jeremy Renner for some reason is telling Sony to give the character back on Twitter, even though Disney is the more, money-hungry one here. So let me just briefly explain why Sony's pretty reasonable here. God, I can't believe I'm defending Sony. They own the film rights to Spider-Man and spend their own marketing on it and help fund the movie. Disney just uses their own creative team to help produce the movie and make it what it is. So basically, Sony is the one mainly putting in the money here to make the movies, and Disney just wants more money, even though they're not doing as much work. But after Disney's made all these Spider-Man movies, naturally they want to renegotiate new terms for their rights and logistics. I can level with Disney here because 5% is nothing, even though they do get other benefits, so renegotiating is pretty understandable. What's unreasonable is the fact of how much they demanded, 10 times more than what they were getting. They wanted 50% from 5%, even when Sony is the one putting in most of the money and owns the character. So if you guys were Sony, you would most likely pull out from this deal because that's utterly insane. So on the one hand, I'm kind of looking forward to a non-Disney Spider-Man movie still starring Tom Holland, possibly still being directed by John Watts. I've been reading some articles maybe that he won't be returning, but Tom Holland's locked in for at least 4 solo movies. So why, you may ask, why I'm looking for a Sony Spider-Man movie? Well, that's easy. Spider-Verse. It's been shown that if Sony just lets their filmmakers be creative in what they're making, great things can happen. I really hope they learn from this, but also, I just still can't trust Sony fully. They have one great movie since Spider-Man 2. The rest since Spider-Man 3 have all been failures in my opinion, and having the MCU Spidey felt like a breath of fresh air, even though many people also hate it. I feel like the MCU Spidey has been bogged down to the inability to use certain characters and storylines, and maybe when Sony fully owns the character, we can see more classic Spider-Man stories starring Tom Holland. That would be pretty awesome. Either way, this feels like kind of like a loss simply due to companies being greedy. Now, as of right now, this isn't 100% final, so let's maybe give it just like a few more days as they still may be trying to figure out a common ground here. I hope they can keep him in the MCU because this way both parties benefit. I also hope that if they do manage to keep him in the MCU, that they allow complete creative freedom. I think the Disney Spidey films are both pretty above average, but I don't love them. Like, Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Verse. Part of me feels like if he's with Sony, maybe we can get more stuff like that, but I don't know. So, really I'm honestly just at a loss here. I don't want them to reboot him if Sony gets the rights because this Spider-Man is so tied to the MCU, it'd be really off-putting. Like, would he just ignore everything that's happened to him in the past? Can he even reference Iron Man? It'd be super weird. So really, I'd like him to stay in the MCU and hopefully they just make some creative changes within the movies for the best Spider-Man stories possible. Basically, both of these companies suck. Disney and Sony are greedy, and I can't really trust Sony because of their history of limiting directors and creators on their Spider-Man films. For example, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, Spider-Man 3, and most recently Venom, so really they've given me no reason to, trust them besides Spider-Verse, but that's just one movie. So in conclusion, stop putting 100% of the blame on Sony. Disney is the one being outrageous here, demanding really just ludicrous terms, and I hope they can reach a common ground to keep on making great Spider-Man stories that stay within the MCU. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw here, click the like button, And what's your opinion on this? I love to hear it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.